Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your July reading. This is going to be a general reading for anyone who has Taurus in their chart, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or Mars. I'm going to be pulling from several decks, and there will be an extended reading available to you, so just check the description for the link. All right, guys, Taurus, let's get into your July outlook. The sun, wow, right away coming in. Beautiful energy, vitality, the highest energy card in the deck. We're going to pull 4. Oh, more. 9 of Wands. Sun in Sagittarius. Expansion. Whew. Wow. The Fool. Damn, Taurus. And we have the 2 of Swords. Wow. This is really something. Right away to jump right into this. Before we go into that, let me go ahead and start to shuffle your deck. Listen, I pulled out 4 cards to look at, the 4 energies, the 4 winds. This is a little bit of a different style of reading that I normally do for you, so you'll have to let me know how you like it in the comments. But we're going to go on each card and see the connection for you for July. I'm going to take my time with this reading. The monthly readings, I like to take my time. All right, guys. So, the sun. Wow, the sun. The sun. The sun talks about rejuvenation, talks about energy in the purest form, The sun is everything, we wouldn't have life on our planet without the sun. The sun is the source of our birth and our growth and our abundance, right? And so sun energy coming in is clarity. It is the center of our solar system shining on you, right? Success is coming in, growth is coming in, right? Energy to move forward is coming in. Let's get your cards out for this now. We're going to start pulling your cards. Wheel of Fortune, nice. 10 of Wands and the 8 of Swords. So right away, Taurus, what are we talking about here? Wheel of Fortune energy coming in. So July is going to be another one of those months for you where it's just going to be a banner month, right? Wheel of Fortune coming in and a 10 of Wands. So for both of those here, let me just pull these up. For those two together, it is as if finally everything is working out for you, right? 10 of Wands is, for a while now, you've been carrying a lot. You feel like you haven't been able to find your way, even though you keep pushing forward, you keep moving forward, right? And still you have this feeling of, am I getting anywhere? Am I getting anywhere? I'm putting this work in. I'm carrying all of this all of these, I want to say responsibilities I've taken on, all of these ideas sometimes I've taken on, right? And now I'm just kind of like, damn, where do I go? But it's also the last straw. 10 of Wands is last straw energy, okay? And it's at the 10 where you finally say, okay, enough is enough. And the Wheel of Fortune coming in with that sun, with that strong energy of the sun and that clarity of the sun. July is going to be a month where you really let go of many of the final things that have been holding you back. Anything that's been holding you back in terms of, getting your projects going, moving your life forward, right? Moving your life forward. Anything that you've been carrying. And I do say, I feel here, Taurus, that this is a reading for a Taurus that's already been doing shadow work and has already been laying down some things. But in July, there's this surge of energy and fortune that comes in. Everything seems to work out, right? And you're finally able to let it go. You then also do have an 8 of Swords, all right? So 8 of Swords energy can be, it's toxic, right? Eight of Swords energy is a feeling of not being able to move or make a decision because everyone else around you is confining you. You're constricted. You're not in touch with your feelings. You don't really know what your opinion is, right? You're so confused. It's the card of gaslighting, okay? It's a card for gaslighting. So, you know, on top of all of this abundance and good luck and laying down some serious issues and toxicity and trauma that you've had, you have this, an Eight of Swords. So let's go and see what that's all about. A Tower moment. Yep. And going back up, and a Seven of Wands. So a Tower moment happens. A Tower moment happens for you in this energy, right? I think what happens, Taurus, is that you go through this situation here with the Sun and Wheel of Fortune, going through this surge of energy, right? And you fall for some of you, for some reason, and we're going to go through all these cards and find a connection, but for some reason, you fall back into a toxic situation. You find yourself suddenly in a really weird situation where you've released so much and you've grown so much, and all of a sudden you're right back in a toxic space of feeling and behaving that I believe you've been in before, right? But you may have thought that you conquered that and that you would never go back to that. And so this is one of those backlashes that happens when we level up. We get kind of like a backlash, or sometimes you could look at it as a test or a reverberation, but of a situation where it thrusts us right back to where we were before all of this breakthrough. And how do we deal with it? A Tower moment comes in. Another realization, you need to have more realizations, Taurus. Yes, you're having a breakthrough. The wheel is turning for you. The universal clock is turning for you and bringing in events. Judgment flipped, death flipped over. Big change. Big change. Okay. Nine of Wands is strength. Strength, Sun and Sagittarius. It's that final deep strength that we dig into when we feel like we're about to give up. Death has come in. Let me come back to what I was saying here. This Tower moment comes in for you, Taurus, because as you've gone through this huge sort of maturation, I want to say spiritual maturation, so leveling up spiritually, emotionally, reaping karma from a lot of hard work, pushing through some of the last stages of a stage of shadow work. You are thrust right back into a similar situation you had before, and a Tower moment comes in for you. And just when you thought you learned everything you needed to learn from that situation, you learned one more thing. There's one more thing that you've left behind in this journey, if you know what I mean, right? There's one more aspect of the previous toxicity that you haven't had a chance to explore, that you need to explore, that may be sitting inside of you, festering or not festering yet, but it's there and it needs to be sort of dug out for you to be fully on this new path. And so the universal clock, Wheel of Fortune, oftentimes those events, they don't only just bring opportunity for abundance and love, they bring opportunity for the things that you need to be put on your path. And sometimes the things that you need to be put back or steered back on your correct path are difficult. And sometimes those things are visits back or being thrown back into a previous sort of situation that you believed you had conquered, but that you find there's one more thing to learn. And I'm going to tell you right now, my strong feeling here is that the one thing you still need to learn here is to take responsibility for allowing yourself to be around toxic people. This Eight of Swords card is a 2-level toxic card. The first level of toxicity with the Eight of Swords is others coming in. People around you, surrounding yourself with people who are negative, bring negative vibes, who are toxic. That's the first level. The first level of the toxicity here is those toxic people that you are around for whatever reason you are around them, right? And so they begin to do what they do. Their toxicity begins to sort of contaminate, right? That's what toxic means. Something that contaminates everything around it. Something that is poison to everything around it is toxic. And slowly but surely, the way they speak, the way they act, the way that you interact, you find yourself in this space of being completely closed off, kind of feeling crazy, unable to make any decisions, totally unfocused, angry, completely out of touch with your feelings. And then you begin the second stage of toxicity that I talk about with this Eight of Swords, because this is indeed Gemini energy here. Eight of Swords, the second side of this toxicity is the victim game, where you begin to blame everybody else around you for being in the situation that you're in. You begin to mimic the same toxicity that the people around you have put upon you. You've been contaminated, infested, you've been not infested, infected, rather, sorry, wrong word. Infected. And that's what toxicity does. It does eventually seep in and infect you. And the second layer is the worst layer, because that's the layer where you begin to, you're like not taking responsibility, and that's, I think that's one of the heavy lessons you may be learning this July, Taurus, is that, and that's why you have to come back here, is because how do you handle being back in this toxic situation? Well, you do fight. Seven of Wands. Let's move on. You do fight. You stand your ground, you fight. Mars and Leo energy, strong Leo energy. Sun rules Leo, so you have strong Leo energy here, Taurus. You may have it in your chart. Someone significant in your life may have Leo in their chart. But in any case, you rise to the occasion. I believe you do. When you go through this in July, remember this reading. This is the eye-opener. This is the last lesson. And the last lesson, of course, the most important lesson is the lesson for yourself. Don't allow yourself to be surrounded by toxic people. Stand your ground. Be firm. And by having released a lot of this, having done the shadow work here and released a lot of the toxicity here, you're ready for that here. You believe in yourself more. You're confident. You're able to fight for yourself and stand your ground and say, no, I don't deserve to be around people like this. So you dig into your strength and death comes in. What else comes in? Knight of Pentacles and the Chariot. Oof, nice energy. Death. So the beginning of a transformation. Death is, in fact, in tarot, death is not a physical death, I'm sorry. But in tarot, when we talk about death, we talk about the ending of something, right? That, the true meaning and essence of death is a permanent end to something, right? Whatever that may be. And so it's significant because it's an end, of course, but it's a permanent end. It's not something that's going to come back. And so you shut the door finally on all of the burden and toxicity here. That Wheel of Fortune, that divine timing has brought in exactly what you needed. That sun has given you the clarity that you needed to see, the strength inside of you. Death comes in, full transformation. Knight of Pentacles and Chariot. Damn, Taurus. Knight of Pentacles and Chariot energy is moving forward with your dreams. Actually moving on your dreams, not just thinking about them and making plans and stuff. The Chariot, the Chariot oftentimes is stationary, because Chariot talks about the preparation that is needed when you begin a journey, an important journey, a journey towards a goal. Well, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. You have to be ready for that journey. You have to do the shadow work. You have to put the effort in. Knight of Pentacles. You have to do the work. You have to pay the dues. You have to prepare things, right? Because once the Chariot goes, it goes on the path that you've chosen for it. It's a choice card as well. You choose a certain path, and then now you may, along the path, you may have obstacles, and how you respond to those obstacles, etc., are down to you. It's not like, you have no more control. You have control of how you handle the path, but the path itself, once you're on it, it's the one you've laid out, and it's going to remain the same, right? So what else comes in to help you? Lovers. And a Knight of Swords. So a love connection comes in. Of course, law of attraction, all of this beautiful work. Knight of Swords comes in, a lot of activity, mental activity, a lot of communication. What else flipped over? Justice coming in on that Fool. For some of you, you're dealing with a new situation, a whole new life is opening up. Some of you, justice. Yes, lovers comes in. This is just a little an aside energy. That Knight of Swords and justice. It's interesting because this is also a time reading, Taurus. And so in July, right, there will be movement on an issue for some of you to have to do with courts, litigation, contracts, mediation, something like that, something that has to do with bureaucracy or officialdom, right? And there's going to be a lot of activity coming in. It's going to come in to bring balance to a situation or bring justice to a situation that you've been dealing with that has been out of balance. One of this situation, I would say, for some of you Taurus, has had a lot to do with all of this pain that you carried over here and this burden that you carried over here, right? But you come into July and that Knight of Swords, a lot of the mental time and activity that you've put in, a lot of the effort that you've put in, a lot of the, physical time that you've had to put into this situation, it pays off, balance comes in, and the Fool is there because you're free. Yeah. You become freed in July, Taurus, from a situation that has really held you back, held you almost in a place of like an old place. It's like you were so done with that life, but you were anchored there because the situation wasn't over yet. You were done. You were done with that type of life you were living there, that feeling you were having, the person you were. It's like you're very much like the chariot in as much as you were brimming and ready to go forward and go forward with this change and transformation with this death. You wanted this death to come a long time before it came, but something had you anchored here, and that's that 10 of Wands energy. Something had you anchored, and it was outside of your control. I'm going to say for some of you, may have something to do with this 8 of Swords here, whomever has been gaslighting you and sort of visiting sort of psychic attack on you. Again, still be careful not to play victim, but I see here that you're not playing victim. You're not playing victim at all. You may have gone through the first stage of toxicity here, but you have not allowed yourself to linger and then get sort of swept into the second stage. You've been very adamant about your truth, and you've been fighting for it, and your balance comes in. Beautiful. Page of Cups. Beautiful. Emperor. What the fuck? Sorry. Damn. Like, your cards are just on point. For those of you, listen, hit the like button, sound off. For those of you who watch tarot readings and understand, if you watch regular tarot readings, you understand, and true tarot readers who understand the cards, you understand the significance of all of this. The balance comes in. You have a Page of Cups that shows up right next to your lovers right here. Page of Cups energy, lovers energy. I said it was like a fleeting energy, just an aside energy in the reading. It comes right back. There's a connection somewhere, and a Page of Cups comes in. Somebody may send you a note, a text, an email. They may give you a call. They're interested. They're curious about you. Emperor energy, Aries energy. You definitely establish yourself in July. Again, you were brimming to go anyway, Taurus. And so when this event, again, all leading on from that Wheel of Fortune, the first two cards I laid, in terms of the first two connected cards, all leading on from that Wheel of Fortune as well, bringing divine timing in, right? In July, you really establish yourself. And that Fool energy, like that whole new life you wanted to start, starts really fast and immediately picks up and takes you right to where you be. Like, timing catches up with itself. You know what I'm saying, Taurus? It's almost as if all the time you felt like you were wasting over here catches up with, like, the spirit and the universe and the Wheel of Fortune helps you catch up with yourself so that in July you end up exactly where you should have been all along. I hope that makes some sense. Let me know if that makes sense. Emperor energy. New territory comes into along with that Fool, but you're strong and you're going to succeed. We have Hermit coming in, and we have King of Wands. More fire. Damn. Hermit energy. A teacher, a feeling of interesting. Somebody comes into your life that is very different, very new. This person comes in and really brings some insight into your life. I feel hermit energy coming into you from the outside, Taurus. You establish yourself, but you make a connection with someone. I feel like you're making a spiritual connection with someone. They're not a hierophant. They're not necessarily a teacher, but they're kind of like a sympathical soul on a spiritual level. I feel like they come in for you. King of Wands energy also coming in. Multiple people may be coming in for you, Taurus, very different from each other. One is very fiery, may even be a fire sign. The other hermit energy comes in. They're both looking your way, right? So it's like, yeah, they both come in. You may have a choice. Uh-oh, what did I say? You know, I knew that card was there, but yeah, you have a choice coming up, and here it is. Let's get into it. There is a okay, stop it. I'm done. I can't stand y'all sometimes. Oh my God. Two of Swords comes out over Two of Swords. With these two individuals coming in, Taurus, you have a choice to make. Ooh, and it's difficult. Moon and Libra energy, right? You want peace, you know? You want peace. You want to make the decision that is right for you. You want to make the decision that is going to bring you what you truly desire, and you're not entirely sure what that's going to be. Damn. Yeah, two very different people come into your life. Let me take a sip of coffee. So I'm going to take a look at that in the extended reading. I'm going to take a look at this love connection issue. I think that is the most exciting part of all of this, right? Ooh, Judgment. Six of Wands. Five of Pentacles. And there's the Hierophant. All right. Taurus. One of these people needs forgiveness, right? I think one of these people is an ex, Taurus. One of these people is an ex. Because Judgment comes in, and that's all about, you know, choosing to let go. Are you going to choose to let go of the past? Are you going to choose to let go of all of, you know, the guilt and the blame and all of that stuff? Are you going to choose for that? Are you going to choose to let it go, or are you going to choose to hold on? Right? Judgment. Let it go. It's a call. It's a moment now. This is the time. This is your moment, you know. Either, you know, what do they say? Bleep or get off the pot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time now to decide. So that's factoring in to your decision. You do have a Six of Wands here. It does feel like a victory coming in. It does feel like a victory. But you have that Five of Pentacles, you know? Five of Pentacles is a split that happens somewhere along the line that really affects you financially, may affect your health, etc. Five of Pentacles is really rebuilding yourself from the ground up. Let me get another card. I want to use my clarifying deck for that. Let's clarify some stuff here. I want to clarify that Five of Pentacles. Nine of Wands. So we go back to this. The Nine of Wands is here. So this Five of Pentacles has something to do with this energy over here, where you're pushing through and your abundance began to come in. You may have a period in July where you find yourself happy on the one hand, but on the other hand, you find yourself maybe in a moment of not turmoil, but struggle. Okay, there may be a moment of struggle that comes in for you in July for a reason. I'm going to take a look at that in the extended reading as well. Hierophant comes in. Your inner guide is the one who's going to help you make this decision, right? Your inner guide. The Hierophant is who you truly are, how you were raised, your culture, your upbringing, your religion, yada, yada, yada. You know, that's the Hierophant. And so you lean into that. You lean into who you truly are, and you know, your principles, and, you know, you lean into also what you really want in a relationship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of relationship do you want? Knight of Swords comes out again. Yeah, you're really adamant about it. Yeah. You make moves here in this whole situation, I'm going to say, to really make sure that you get what you want. Knight of Swords. You make the right decisions. You cut people off or not. You say what you need to say. Like, you're being very actionary about protecting what you believe, you know, is important, right? The Hierophant reminds us each, it's very different for everyone, but the Hierophant reminds us of what is truly important to us, what matters to us, what, you know what I mean? And so that Knight of Swords coming in, you're really going to, strength comes in. Leo energy, strength comes in, you dig into your strength, and you don't really take any prisoners. All right, guys, let's go ahead and pull out some oracles. Then I'm going to pull out some zodiac runes to see what kind of zodiac signs you may be dealing with in your life throughout all of this. So listen, July is a month for you, Taurus, where first of all, you are going to have a huge breakthrough spiritually and emotionally, right? There may be a time in July where you're thrown back into a toxic situation that you had before, where you find yourself around like the toxic people that you were dealing with before, and you kind of deal with that on a new level, right? A lot of your business, for those of you who have been trying to pick up your business or increase your work or what have you, who have had struggles in the area of like your finance, your money, all of that is picking up. Specifically for those of you who have been on a particular path, who have really been, you know, I'm going to say, working towards a particular goal, and you almost maybe were giving up or getting tired, all of that is picking up for you in July. You find yourself firmly sort of on a path, you know, it's like the ball is rolling, the chariot it's going. It's like, oh my God, okay, it's happening, it's happening. And then for some of you, a love interest begins to come in, begins to spark. There's also the end of for some of you, there's end of a particular situation in your life that may have involved courts or that may have involved mediation or other people, things like that, that there's an end to that. This is a situation that you've been fighting for a really, really long time, and that situation comes into balance for you in July. You also have a whole new beginning that comes in as a result of all of this. Now, all of this is kind of happening at once. So July is going to be a very sort of buoyant up month for you. All of this is coming in. Why? Wheel of Fortune is powered by the sun. So, you know what I mean? There's plenty of power to go around. All of this is kind of happening simultaneously and throughout the weeks of July. I'm going to say around the middle of July, towards the end of July, you have this love situation that comes in where you two different people, very different people, one very, very fiery, maybe a Leo, comes in. One may indeed be a Virgo, one much more sort of quiet and reserved, much older. Okay, I believe the other one is much older, either than your person or much older than the other person coming into you. Not necessarily much older than you, because the other person coming in may be younger than you. You do have a huge victory that comes in for you. You do make a decision. There's a big decision that you make here. And one of the decisions definitely has to do with forgiveness, right? As I said, I'm going to look at all of that in the extended reading. But a lot of you really just dig deep and go back to what you know to sort of fight for what's important for you, regardless of how that decision is made for you. But you do have a little bit of trouble over here for a moment in July. I'm going to say towards the end of July, where you find yourself battling again. It may be just a tiny setback in your business situation, just a step back. But again, it's Nine of Wands, Nine of Wands. It's simply another invitation for you to dig deeper and get more strength. You know, there's always a 2 steps forward, 1 step backward nature. It's never just forward. It can sometimes be forward, but a lot of abundance comes in for you and success comes in for you. And I feel like this little hiccup here is just that, a hiccup. So let's get your oracles. Limits. Wish. Wow. And support. So yeah, there are limits. There are limitations that are coming in. And you learn that, oftentimes when we have this big burst of forward energy and we begin something new, it's like so exciting when you're moving forward so fast, but there's always a moment where it's like, ooh, slow down, stop. And along the way, there are going to be certain limits. And those are moments where you have to sit and you have to think, about what's in my way, what's limiting me here, and how do I break through this so I can continue forward, right? So it's a challenge. Wish. There's a wish fulfillment here for some of you. I'm going to say this wish, I think, has to do with your love situation and your financial situation. Taurus, you being earth sign, always about your money, wanting nice things. So you have a wish to succeed here in a way. And I think you also have faith that it's going to happen. I do believe that. But there is a wish fulfillment happening for you in July. That wish is coming true. So many things are being lifted, so many burdens, so many situations are finally coming into balance. Justice is being served. All of your hard work is being paid. Support comes in for you. Okay. Encouragement. That energy of keep going, you're on the right path, even with a little setback that you may be experiencing. Some of you may be experiencing this setback as a result of whomever it is you end up choosing. Yeah. I feel like this is connected to this love energy over here. So let's pull out 3 zodiac signs. First one you're dealing with is a Sagittarius. You may have Sagittarius in your chart. You may be dealing with a Sagittarius in your life. The second one, Scorpio. Strong energy. Scorpio. Some of you are dealing with a Scorpio. You have Scorpio in your chart. And we have Pisces energy. Some of you have Pisces in your chart, or the people in your life, the significant people in any of these situations may have that energy in their chart. Sagittarius, Scorpio, and Pisces. All right, guys. One last pull, your animal spirits. Yeah, wow. This is a heavy reading, Taurus. A huge breakthrough, success. A huge breakthrough, success coming in, but release as well, freedom, freedom from things that have really been burdening you, a breakthrough, but also a decision, a choice in love, unicorn, the phoenix, and the lizard. The unicorn is associated with the 6th chakra, the third eye. See if I can get this closer. The third eye, okay? The chakra that is associated with psychic events, clairvoyance, seeing and feeling things that aren't normally seen by the 5 senses, being in touch with the other, right? Magic, unicorn. But the unicorn reminds us that in order to tap into magic, in order to tap into that essence, we have to first believe in it. So the unicorn is the animal spirit for faith and belief in the things that we can't readily prove all the time, but that we just have an understanding is there, so that we may be able to go through that portal and tap into that world. We also have Phoenix energy, of course, rebirth, a full rebirth. This goes hand in hand with that death card I was talking about earlier. The Phoenix is associated with the first chakra, at the root of our spinal cord, right? The base of our spinal cord. It's associated with a whole new person being sort of born out of the ashes of the old. Very close to judgment energy here. We have another phoenix here, right? 2 phoenixes showing up in your reading for July. So I would say, Taurus, that you are absolutely going through a real rebirth into something beautiful. Lizard energy is there, fire. Now the lizard is hyper aware. The lizard, you know, can almost see things happening before they're happening, right? The lizard is also the animal spirit for extrasensory perception and knowing things, knowing things are going to happen before they happen. But take care. The lizard can get overworked and can begin to see things that aren't, that aren't happening. And so the lizard has to take care to cool down, right? Lest it dry up. You know what I'm saying? All right, Taurus, this was an incredible reading for July. I do hope it resonated for you. If it did, please go ahead and hit the like button or subscribe to my channel. All of that really, really helps me out and helps my content out. And I really appreciate it when you do it. I will have a link to the extended reading. In the extended reading, I'm going to take a look at this little love situation over here and these choices that you're having to make. And we're going to take a look at how that may play out over the month. All right, guys, this is it. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I wish you love, life, and happiness, and I hope to see you right back here at Bow and Arrow Tarot again for your monthly or your weekly love tarot reading. Bye-bye now.